Hey guys, Grant Kennedy here. Want to make a video today, a little bit of a response video about something I saw on YouTube where Canva and a whole bunch of their affiliates were pushing Canva as a web design tool. Now, as a professional web designer, every single day there's new people getting in on the market, new companies like trying to get a little piece of the pie. And most tools are crap. But this one piqued my interest because I've used Canva from time to time for social media graphics and things like that. Anytime I'm a little bit too lazy to fire up Figma and do everything from scratch, I will just head on over to Canva just to if I need something done quickly. So, wanted to kind of check this out and see what this Canva web site builder is all about. And just to be perfectly candid, I just did this entire video before and I forgot to hit record. So this is kind of my second time through. Hopefully it's a little bit more polished now that I got some unintended practice. So let's dive right in. Here we are in Canva, and what I decided I wanted to do is I wanted to check out what the code looks like and functionality and kind of SEO, a few other things, kind of just run through a really basic checklist. And to do this, I decided, well, I will kind of try to recreate what I have on my website. So this is my actual website. I have navigation up here. I have the hero section, a call to action right here, and then I have like a sign up form right here. So I'm try to recreate this, not pixel perfect, but just kind of throw it together and see how it turned out in Canva. And so this is where I'm at. It took me. It didn't take me very long, but it was a pretty annoying process, to be honest. Because anytime I added some new text or something like that, I mean, I don't have Pro. I don't use Canva enough to add in another subscription. So I'm just using that, like, every time I do it, I just need to use these default text styles, which means I have to throw it in, adjust the sizes, adjust the text to the font, Russo 1. This is the font that I use for kind of all of my stuff. And so that's a really annoying process. I think it's purposely annoying because they want you to upgrade. But if you are already pro, then this little annoyance won't affect you. So that's what I did. So these two things on my website, these are both headings. So I added headings on my website. This right here, this is an H1 tag. This is an H2 tag. Here we have a button. And then these ones are, if I remember correctly, are these H3s. So we have two H3 tags. We have a form right here, the submit button. And then these is just P tags with an unordered list. So I threw it over here, and this is what we have here. Like I said, this isn't pixel perfect, but I was just trying to do it. When I was going through this, I didn't know about this at the time, but you can actually add guides. So I could do a 12 column guide here, and so that makes things nice. So you can get everything lined up really well. You can also add your margins in. One thing I can't figure out is how to actually change the width of a design. Like I can drag it down and up to change the height, but I don't know how to change the width. Right now, this default is set for 1366 pixels as the width. But whenever I'm building websites and I'm looking at like kind of a desktop width, because there's different viewport widths, whether you're on desktop or phone or tablet, and there's different widths depending on phones and stuff like that. So you make these different breakpoints for responsiveness. I always do 1440. And so I was a little kind of surprised by this random number. And I don't know how to change it. I don't see it in the settings. Um, and yeah, so that's kind of weird that you can't change the width. See, click on a section and I can't drag or anything like that. So yeah, and then another thing, like if I create these two sections here, and I can't get this one to kind of overlap this section, which is you know, not the end of the world, but it is kind of annoying. I mean, these are pretty basic kind of functionalities that like a professional, even like an amateur website builder like Squarespace or just basic Wix, you can do this. So yeah, I did all this, and right off the bat, like here's a red flag: is they don't have forms. Like a form is just a very like one of the most fundamental HTML objects that there is, and they don't have it. You have to like go to a third party and get like Jotform or something like that, and then you embed it in here. And so now you're sending yourself to another third party. Whereas if you're doing this like with a WordPress site, you own all of that. And even with amateur page builders like Squarespace or Wix, like you can get all of your contacts and your form submissions and stuff like that, and you can save them in your own like spreadsheet or something like that. Like you can own that here. So now you have to send it to another third party. Already it's becoming way more complicated. So we got all this. Now let's take a look at kind of performance and code and kind of a little bit more technical things. So you hit publish website. It goes here. You can do it with navigation, without navigation. If you're doing like a landing page, take off navigation. If you're trying to just build a home page, use navigation. I created this little domain here. You do have different options. You can host it with your own domain and things like that. I'm just using their hosting. Now here's something to pay attention to here is by default, if you do not set the page URL, it just says home. You have to go up here and you can set it. So this is actually where you'd get some SEO value, is you can put your title tag right here. Like it says browser tab preview. It should say title. And then here is your meta description. So while this is loading, I'm just gonna gripe a little bit here, is that this whole process of publishing changes is so annoying. Like, not only was that kind of slow, but then it's like, oh, you got to do this, and it's always just another screen, another thing to click on just to view your site. It's really annoying. For me, like in WordPress, 2 clicks. That's it. Okay, so here's the site. Now remember earlier we were talking about the width, the viewport width, and it was set to 1,366. My website is always set to 100% viewport width, but then I have like a content width, fixed content width, um, or a max content width throughout the entire site. So even when I'm on my large screen up here, everything kind of fits within this section. And so if I go on a really big screen, this part will get larger, but the distance between the edge here and this edge here won't. Just the white space on this side. And so again, we have form right here that we can't do in Canva. Let's take a look over here. I mean, they said this site was responsive, but it's not, because this doesn't grow. I mean, this, I set this section, this black band right here, I set this beyond the actual canvas. And it gets cut off right here. Let's take a look at the code. Right here, I mean, this is super plain, so this kind of makes sense why it's so little. But right off the bat, like, it says like div id root rather than like a main. Like, it should be main. But whatever, that kind of root, that's kind of old. Kind of more tells me it's more of a web app, but maybe it was built with, maybe on the back end they're using something like React or Next.js or something. All right, so right here, so this, this is the main div, and then we go down here. It says a page one. Like, notice it's right off the bat, rather than the h1 tag being kind of the first thing, or like at least like a div that is saying like, okay, this is the container. Like if they wanted to do div root, or now I'm getting a little too technical. But it just has this a tag that's set to hidden, this anchor tag. And then it goes into section. Okay, section, that's pretty good. It has inline styles. Then we have two more divs. Okay. And then another div, which is kind of the same thing. We have another div, again. I just talk about border box width, like, okay. Another div. Another div. And so, yeah, we have all this, and there's, like, it shows here, but there's no, like, content. Maybe that's the nav bar that's not showing. Let's take a look right here. Okay, now we can actually, so this second div here in the section, this is where the actual content lives. So here we go here. Now right here. So we have a div right here, a div here. Then we have another one. Another one. And we have a p tag. And wait, something's nested in the p tag. We have a span. Why? Why? None of this, like, that's all unnecessary. Absolutely unnecessary. At most, you need just kind of like one div, maybe two, and then this would be an H1 tag. At least on my site, it's an H1 tag. Don't need a span within it. Like, I would use a span if I was like trying to like change, if I was like in code and I was just trying to change like this digital marketing and I want to highlight that in a different color, then I would put that in the span and change the color on that. All of this is just really unnecessary. And also, it's just not SEO friendly. Like, Google's going to look at this and it's not going to know what kind of the topic of it is, right? The same thing here. Just so annoying. And again, P tag. Even though I chose headings in Canva, it shows up as paragraph tags on here. That's what the P stands for, paragraph, but P tags. And then again, a span. Why? So finally, let's take a look down here. So we have a div, another div, another div. Div, SVG. There's things as buttons. Like, buttons are HTML elements. Instead, this is just divs, and then we have an SVG. Is this even gonna have, what's this gonna, and a P tag, and a span. What the hell is this? And, all right, so let's just go back here and let's collapse all that. Here we have another anchor tag here, and then section. I mean, the two sections, these are like the only kind of good things I would say about this from a technical point of view. And again, it's just like all the same nonsense, right? So div, blah, 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 blah. Yeah. This is terrible. This is terrible. Like, these two anchor tags here, like if you are building out navigation in a site and you want to click, if you want to have something in your nav bar that jumps down to a different part of your site, what you do is like you just give a section that an ID. Like if you want to, in your nav bar, if it says contact or like call now and or book now, let's say, and at the bottom of your page you have a Calendly, an embedded Calendly form, scheduler. You give that section an ID, like you say Calendly, and then in the button in the nav bar, you link it to that ID. When someone clicks it, boom, it just brings you there. Like, it's all of this is just like a waste. Like, this is terrible. This is not a real tool. So, don't do this. Don't do this. Like, if you don't have a budget to hire a professional web designer, fine, right? Use Squarespace, use Wix. If you have a little bit of design skills, WordPress or Webflow, use anything but this. This is just terrible. This is a joke. 2 thumbs down. Don't even bother. Don't believe the hype or the Canva affiliates who make money whenever you click on a link and sign for a plan. Don't bother. Yeah. This is one of the poorest attempts of like a website builder I've seen. And there are a dime a dozen. They come out every single day. So, on a lighter note, if you like this video, please subscribe. Hit the like button and feed the algorithm. If you would like some more marketing and web design tips, I have a newsletter on my website, gmkennedy.com. I'll add the links in the description. Hope you have a nice day. Thanks.